So hedging methods. So what are the methods available to deals with transaction risk and translation risk? Um, we have only, I think, one hedging instrument available for translation risk only in FM, but all of them hedging options that we will discuss in FM paper are related to transaction risk only. Okay, so some methods are internal that we can do ourselves. We don't need to go outside. We don't need to go to any exchange or bank to manage it. And what options we have? We have matching option, we have netting option, we have leading and lagging option. And then we have some external hedging methods available like forwarded agreement, money market hedging, and some market related options as well, like currency future, currency option, and all of them. So what are the approaches you can do to deal with the transaction risk? One of them is dealing in your home currency. Sorry. One of them is dealing in your home currency. What does that mean? The best way, one of the best way to avoid any exchange rate risk at all, deals in your local currency. Like if you're a UAE based company, ask your customer, we only accept dirham. Ask your supplier, we only will pay in dirham. So it will avoid all the exchange rate risk altogether. You don't have to translate your currency, right? But this is only possible when you have in a position to ask this to your customers and supplier, right? I mean, let's say if you're asking this to your customer, we only accept dirhams, and there are a lot of other competitors, they accept any other currency. So definitely they will take the competitive advantage in this case, right? Yeah, but if you have the monopoly, yes, you can do that. Like ACCA, they ask us to pay in pounds, whatever you are based in. You're based in Dubai, India, wherever in the world, you have to pay in pounds. If the fees is the subscription, you have to pay in pounds. So they don't need to worry about any exchange rate risk variation at all, right? Yeah, but that's the one option. Second option is do nothing. Okay, if you do nothing, then you may be exposed to exchange rate risk. Look, it may be a risk, it may be gain as well if exchange rate moves to favorable side. So we don't need to worry about gain, by the way. So our keen interest should be on loss, on adverse case possible. Okay, so but what other option we have available? Leading. What is leading? Make payment in advance. Look, when transaction risk will arise? When the transaction date and the settlement date are not the same. If you buy goods today and if you pay the money today, you don't need to worry about any exchange rate movements. If you sell goods today and if your customers settle goods today, again, you don't need to worry about any transaction risk at all. But again, here we have a problem. Problem is if you are going to pay today, that you can pay after 3 months. So you have to bear opportunity cost, right? The money that you can use for 3 months, you have to pay immediately. And you will, of course, not able to get the advantage of using this money in other ways, in other means. But yeah, if you believe that this transaction risk is so high, you can go for the lead payment. So lead payment means advance payment. Lagging. What is lagging? Delay. Let's say at the time of the payment, if you believe the exchange rate is too high, exchange rate is too adverse, request supplier and delay the payment. If you receive foreign currencies from the customer today and you believe that exchange rate is adverse, wait. Don't translate it now. Wait, when the exchange rate moves better, you can sell it. This is lagging. Okay, so these are some internal instruments. For these, you don't have to go anywhere else. Next, matching receipts and payments. Yeah, this is very important and businesses normally do that. This is again internal. What is the matching receipts and payments? You're based in Dubai and most of the transaction that you do in UK. You have some customers based in UK and you have also some suppliers based in UK. So try to match the payments and receipts that comes at the same time. I mean, let's say you're expecting that, there are some payments that is going to come up in 3 months' time, or let's say on 1st April 2025, you're expecting to make a receipts of, let's say you're expecting the receipts of 300,000 pounds from your UK based customers, and you're expecting some payments on the same date of approximately 250,000 pounds as well. So better whatever amount you receive from the customer, use it to pay the suppliers in UK, right? Why you have to translate 300,000 that you receive in dirham first and then to convert into pound again when you have to pay? So better bring less money to the exchange. Less money you bring to the exchange, less spread or margin you have to pay, and less you're exposed for the exchange rate risk. Okay, so in that case, whatever receipt you receive from the British customers, use that to pay the British suppliers, and the remaining, whatever left, you just need to translate it into dirham. And for that, you need to have a better treasury department who plan out these payments, like when the payments comes at the same time in same currencies, try to match them, right? So matching the receipts and payments is the other way. Next is netting. Again, all of these are internal approaches, by the way, we discussed. Netting is normally multinational companies, they have their own netting houses, internal netting houses. So what they do, they have a netting house in the central office. So if the Indian company who have to pay dirham, let's say, and you have a Dubai company who have to pay rupee, let's say, rather than both the businesses, which is your subsidiary businesses, they have to go to outside, to the bank, to the exchange and convert, let them deal with each other at a favorable rate, at a rate which is win-win for both. So in that case, we can avoid the spread of the bank, isn't it? Rather than going to the bank or going to the exchange, if you have a centralized netting house who coordinate with all the countries' activities, you have branch in Singapore, you have branch in India, you have branch in Dubai, you have branch in Pakistan, you have branch everywhere, right? So let them exchange with each other, right? And give them a mid rate, which is win-win for both. So in that case, you can save a lot of commission that you have to pay to exchange, especially when your transaction are billion of dollars or billion of, I mean, in big amount. So in that case, you can have a netting house. Okay, so these are the things you need to learn from a theoretical perspective only. So netting, by the way, you will learn in more detail in the advanced financial management paper if you select that paper. But right now, From that perspective, you need to understand what is netting. And netting is the internal mechanism where the multinational companies, they have their own internal netting houses who facilitates all the branches around the globe if they want to translate their currency into other currency. So in that case, rather than going to the outside exchange or bank, they can deal with each other and they can save the spread. So in the end, for the entire group, it's a good thing. Next, we have foreign currency bank account. Yes. So if let's say you know that your majority of trade is in UK, then why not you should have a bank account in UK? Why every time you need to translate in dirham? If you know that your majority, let's say even not majority, you have a very big amount of transaction happen in Britain or in India, so better you should keep an account there, right? You should maintain a bank account there in their local currency. You should have an Indian rupee account in any Indian bank. So any currency you receive in Indian, okay, keep it in this bank, and any payment you have to make, use this bank. So in that case, you don't have to translate every time into your local currency. And the last one is matching assets and liabilities. So this is the only hedging method that you do to manage the translation risk. All other are for transaction risk. Okay, so we discuss about translation risk, which is what? Which is a risk only you have to face when you're going to prepare your financial statement. This is just for financial statement, for the sake of financial statement. So how can we avoid this? Let's say if you are going to buy a subsidiary in Canada, right? So you're bringing your dirham there and converting into Canadian dollars. Why not finance from Canadian banks? Look, if you are investing in Canadian assets, borrow in Canadian dollars, right? Why you are bringing money from here? If it is possible that you can borrow in Canadian dollars and then you are investing in Canadian dollars, there's no translation risk you have to face. Why? Look, if exchange rate decreases, increases, what will happen? If your asset value drop, your liability value will also drop. They will offset with each other. If your asset value increases, it will be offset with the liability value will also increases. So the net impact will be zero. So it will not impact on your consolidated financial statement. You agree or not? So that's the way that you can use. So if you are going for foreign investment, you're buying a foreign asset, not only a subsidiary, maybe you have a factory, a plant, production, machinery, or a foreign investment property you are going to buy in any foreign country, in India, anywhere in the world, better finance it from the same local currency. So when you do that, your assets and liabilities both will be in the same currency, and you don't need to worry about any exchange rate fluctuation. Okay, so these are some approaches that you can use to manage your foreign currency risk internally, right? And some of them, by the way, I wrote down here. So we discussed matching, and we have two types of matching. Okay, matching of receipts and payments to manage your transaction risk, and matching of assets and liabilities to manage your translation risk. Netting houses, I discussed with you, leading, lagging, and the last of it was transaction into local currency, okay, are having a foreign bank account, all of these things. Now let's talk about some external hedging methods that you can use, and on the basis of that you can reduce the risk of transaction. Okay, I will start with the forward rate agreement, FRA, or a future rate agreement.